everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today is another day of the 13 days of Sherpaween, where I get together with my community from October 1st to October 30th and share a different Halloween themed painting with you guys. Now, today we're going to be painting this furry forest creature step by step in acrylic on canvas. I'm going to break down every technique, every tool, every color mix, everything you need to know to be able to create this for yourself at home. To help me do that is my husband, John.
Hello.
He is here making sure that this cutie poopy patootie is able to be painted by making sure that the cameras are pointing at what I'm teaching and what I'm talking about, because if you can see it, you can generally follow along at home. Now, also to help you in that, I'm going to show you guys how I draw him out step by step. But just in case that's like not your favorite to draw, or you just don't feel confident in your drawing and you're like, I love him so much, he has to be on my holiday wall. Because some of you guys are going to just love him with the fire of 1,000 suns.
Hmm.
So if you're like that, in the description down below, I have a traceable. It's free. You don't have to be a member of anything. You don't have to anything. You go by the website. I do suggest signing up and making an account at the website because I send out newsletters and let you guys know what I'm doing in the painting. And sometimes YouTube isn't great at sending out notifications. So that's a really great way to stay in touch. And then there's also, of course, our text notification system that you can sign up for to stay in touch. And I recommend both of those things because what do? I do this program every year. I don't even know how many years we've done this. I've been on YouTube like 10 years. There is like a playlist of every Halloween painting. There are hundreds of them. I will say it again at the end to remind you guys, but this is something I love to do. This is the season and the reason. All right. Get your paint, get your brushes, come back and meet me with easel right now. We're going to paint this. All right, we are on a 12 by 12 canvas today. That is to maximize the cuteness of our little critter. So he's the most cute. I've got on the palette Mars Black, Burnt Sienna, Cad Yellow Medium, Cad Red Medium, Quinacridone Magenta, Dioxazine Purple, Phthalo Blue, Titanium White. Over here I have a little bit of Cad Yellow Medium, and this is Satin Glazing Liquid by Golden Artist Colors. And what it does is it slows down the drying time of my paint and allows me to blend longer. It also allows me to do a thing called glaze or tint, where I use a sheer color over another color. So it's a fantastic product for those things. All right, it's nothing to do but jump on into that first step. So we're going to want to have kind of a darker range of fiery reds down here, and then it's brighter right about here, and then oranges again. And that's kind of an interesting challenge to paint all those little blends. I'm going to go ahead and get my brush a little bit wet, drag off the extra water, come into the glazing liquid, load up, and I'm going to grab a little bit of my Cad Red and my Cad Yellow together and make a fairly dark orange. Still an orange, but it's a fairly dark orange. And I'm going to begin by painting this corner very quickly, up the sides. I'm working fast. If you don't have the glazing medium, it's important to work fast too, because this works blending wet into wet. This is a wet into wet background. Get a little glazing liquid again. Just painting this back and forth. And the glazing liquid is going to slow down the drying time of this paint for me. Okay, now as I'm going, I'm going to get a little more yellow. Come up this side. This is ready layer one, right?
I like the color though.
Oh yeah, this is going to be really gorgeous. Really pretty. Fun to paint too. All right, so we're coming here. And then as I'm going, I want to get a little more yellow. And really kind of just work this yellow out into this. We're just getting that first layer on. Now the thing about the glazing medium that's kind of a pain is that when you go to dry it with your hairdryer, it takes a little longer to dry. That'll be one of the changes that you'll have to arrange for. And when it's partially dry, but not fully dry, sometimes it can feel a little tacky or stiff. But while it's workable, it really helps create a scenario where we can blend, 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 blend for a long time. Now, one thing that I might do is come through here with a dry brush, just very carefully dry brush blend this all out so that it doesn't have any super hard edges. So there's nothing on my brush. It's a clean brush. I usually have oh, you know what? This is a 1-inch Princeton Select oval mop. Silly me. I forgot to tell him the brush,
Oh,
John.
I thought it was the same. I just thought it was the same one you were using earlier, so I
It is
didn't.
the same one, but I forgot to say what the first one was.
Oh, well.
I'm sorry, guys. I won't do that again.
We'll do our best.
We'll do our best. All right, so you see I'm just blending it out. It's not going to be perfect, but what I'm doing is I'm just creating a nice kind of beginning softness where it's yellow here and more orange out here. And I'm trying to prevent like lines, like yellow, line orange, line red orange. That's what we're trying to avoid.
Right. So it's okay to have brush strokes, just you don't want
Yeah, on
division
this
lines.
first layer, you can have some brush strokes, and you'll find as you work it a little bit, if you're real soft with your brush, it does get softer and softer as you go. And because yellow and orange are sort of transparent, it is important to have a good, reasonable blend underneath because the two layers will impact each other. But it's going to take 2 layers to get the depth that we're looking for. Now I'm going to rinse both of my brushes off the 1-inch oval mop by Princeton. And a little note on the oval mop, if you're like, oh, that's an interesting brush and that would make my blending go easier, which I totally understand it does. You want the one that's brown with the dark brown tips, not the black one, not the white one. You want the one that's brown with the dark brown tips. And if you are looking for that, I do have it for sale in my art store to make things easy. But you, of course, can get it anywhere that you shop for your art supplies. All right, let's dry this. And when we come back, I'm going to show you what we do next. So essentially, we're going to repeat the first step. I'm going to come in. Oh, I get my glazing liquid on my brush here. Glazing, and then I'm going to make my nice darker orange. Still distinctly orange, but just a darker orange. I'm down here, and you can see that second coat really deepens it.
Yeah, it really, really does.
Getting a little glazing liquid in there so that I have nice blending. Brushing that out as much as I can. I am using my soft brush. I'm using the 1-inch Princeton Select, again, the oval mop. And then I'm going to come through here and make a slightly lighter orange. Still orange. And I'll go ahead and grab some yellow. Just yellow. And blend that out. You can see the second layer is what softens it. And then it gives us that like glow right there. Kind of working through the orange. Might grab a little more of my kind of red here, my brush, and kind of, I don't have to worry about that too much because I've got a creature in front of it. I'll go ahead and blend a little bit of this darkness down here. I don't really have to worry about it too much there. And maybe a little bit up the side up here. If you're ready to just deepen that. Soft, 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 soft. I have to rinse my brush out. Dry it off completely. And then I just get it in my glazing liquid and soften that. If I used water, what would happen is I would lift the paint up off underneath the dry layer. With water, you have to be careful on the double blend that you have enough acrylic paint on your brush. Because if you have too little, it can lift up or pick up the paint. The blending medium really helps prevent that. Soft, 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 soft. There we go. Looking really good. What a nice, bright, exciting day. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow, grab some white, kind of a light yellow. Go ahead and add a little bit of a hot spot. See how we have a little bit of a hot spot right there?
Yeah, I can see it.
Hot spot. Just blending it around. It's about nudging, little adjustments. But we want that to be nice and sort of bright. All right. Rinse everything out. Put your brushes aside. You're going to wash them after the painting session with soap and water because that's the thing that extends the life of your brushes the most. Let's dry step 2 thoroughly. And again, remember, if you're using the glazing liquid, it takes a little longer to dry than when you're just using water. All right, let's dry it. All right, so now I'm going to put in the silhouette of my adorable creature. That's just so that I don't put trees where I'm going to just put him right over them. So I like to put him in now, and that way I'll be able to really like design out my trees. Now I'm going to use a number 8 Isabay Isacryl round. It's just my big round, and that's because I'm trying to paint a large area fairly quickly. You could use a bright or any brush that gives you good control or your round brush. But if you have a small round, like say you had a small round like this, it just might take you a little longer to fill in the whole area.
That
I'm going to
makes
go
sense.
ahead and get my brush a little bit wet. And I'm going to load up my dioxazine purple. Now, this is the level, this is the layer you do the traceable on if you're not freehanding this out with me. So what you would do is you would put the transfer the image on, and then fill it in with paint if you're doing the traceable. I'm going to come over here and kind of come off the edge a little bit up from the right hand side. And then just as careful as I can, I go up, 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 slightly on my brush. Then I'm going to curve around. And kind of brush that down. Now it's easy for me to make things bigger with the purple paint and hard to make it smaller. So what I like to do is just paint in the mass first. Traceable, you won't have to do this because all of those decisions will have already been worked out for you. But right now, I'm working them out. So how I do that, if you're doing that with me, is to make decisions that happen slowly at a time. You'll notice that I'm using the Docs purple here almost as a black. And that's because this color is so deep and so pigmented and dark that it is almost a chromatic black. It isn't until we add white into it that we can see the purple of it. And I'm just painting this all with my purple.
All with the purple.
All with the purple. Just making that nice and smooth coming off. I'm going to paint around my sides. And that's all I want to do right there is have this weird kind of shape coming in. If you have the traceable, yours will be a little more complete and final than mine is. But that's okay. You just paint the outer outline of it all in. And I'm going to dry this. When we come back, we're going to add some trees. Hey everybody, it is Cinnamon Cooney from the future here. I have had to travel back in time because in the future, while John was editing, we discovered that there was a corruption in the first part of the step. And where it happened meant that the whole lesson wouldn't have worked because it was the trees.
It's the background trees, just a little bit of them.
Yeah, and it's the painting them in which you guys really, really needed. So we decided to fix it by me repainting the background real fast and reteaching the trees going in, and then it will just continue on. So your experience will be seamless. Hopefully, if we do this correct,
Hmm.
your experience will be seamless and you will just paint the trees and continue on. And other than my hairstyle change and me letting you know what's happening, um, it should feel like the lesson is just flowing very smoothly for you. This is a great time if you're an emoji club to throw up those TARDIS emojis because we definitely have had to pull a Time Lord trick here. All right, I'm going to grab the same brush I used the first time. This is a number 8 Isabey Isacryl brush. It's a big chunky round, and I'm picking a big chunky round so I don't have to work super hard to paint in the trees. You could paint them in with your number 6 sepia round. It would just take a little longer and require a little more patience. That's it. But I did this way the first time, so I'm going to do it this way the second time. I'm going to go ahead and get my big brush wet, and I'm going to take a mix of black and brown together and make a very dark brown. Very dark brown. And I'm going to come over here and I'm going to just come off from the right hand side and I'm going to make a little upward branch or tree. Tree. And then next to it, I'm going to come and make another little upward branch, and that's a tree. And I'm going to come off here, make little branches. This one goes off over this way. There, there, and there. Little branches coming off from behind him. And I'm going to come over here and get a little more of my brown and black together. I might grab some of my glazing liquid in here. I'm going to come over to the far side and just about, a half inch over, I'm going to plant a tree. Make sure that I'm planting exactly what I painted before. I'm kind of go up. And then here it's going to kind of make a little deviation towards the left. And I'm going to kind of bring a little branch stump up here. There we go. See, we're recreating it fairly well. And
Yeah.
you guys have the traceable and the finished piece, right? So these are pretty fun and easy to put in, like with those resources. Make sure this nice tree down here. And then we're going to do another little tree. Getting a little water to make sure it flows off my brush nicely. Come over a little bit. Then I'm going to come down here. Make a little branch coming up. And then just right here. All right. Now, that's where we stopped the last lesson where it went. So it's going to continue on from here. And everything else will go smoothly for you and you'll get a great result at the end. And my last thing on this is whenever we're being creative, things go wrong. Things go wrong in recordings, things go wrong in paintings. That's actually a normal part of the creative process. And whenever we're faced with one of those challenges, it's just to look at it and evaluate, can I correct this mistake? Can I go back and resolve this? Or am I starting over again? And a lot of times, like in this time, you don't have to start all the way over again because something went wrong. A lot of times you just go back a little bit and restart up. So that's what we did here. Let's continue with the lesson. little tiny ones coming up. There we go. Just bringing up little branches. Painting them off. Just filling up the forest with a few little moments. Make sure that this comes down. Completed from the base of the painting. All right. And once we have those in, we're going to want to dry everything. And when I come back, I'll show you what we do next. I think that was Luna. So I'm going to use a smaller brush for this next. I'm going to use a number 6 Raphael Sepia Round, and that's just because I want to be able to paint on the inside of this. And I'm going to grab a little bit of my burnt sienna and my cad red and my cad yellow. I'm going to come to the top of this and sort of paint this down. Some glazing liquid to improve my flow. It's okay that a little dark shows through, right? Because this would be, you know, in the forest where the light's hitting it. It brightens it a bit. This is just a nice thing you can do to create some fun lighting effects that are fun. I like using the bigger brush to paint them in because it doesn't take me as long, but you can use a small brush to do all the work. Just takes you a little longer. There we go, just brushing back down a little bit of this light color. And you can see how it's sort of lightening the trees as they come up into the light.
Oh, yeah. And then as I'm coming down, I'll get some of my just burnt sienna. Sort of blend that up and down there. Get a little glazing liquid into my burnt sienna. And the reason being just to improve the flow on my brush. The fluidity with which the paint leaves my brush. That's all I'm trying to improve. Just bringing this down here. And then what's really nice is that it just creates a sort of dark little blending effect. Everything now feels like it's a little more in the light. But the dark underneath makes sure that we don't lose the trees when we paint them in brown. There we go. Up there. And I'm going to make sure that these are kind of nice too. A little brown here. A little bit of brown. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow and my red. And I'm going to get a yellow orange. I'm going to kind of go over the tops. These just a little bit. A little bit of that yellow orange. Now, I'm not painting them away. They're still going to show on the canvas because of the dark layers underneath. I'm just creating a sense of that these are in much more intense light. Isn't that nice how that kind of shades out?
I like that effect a lot.
On another 13 Days of Halloween, I painted the Demigorgon
Hmm.
from Stranger Things, and we used a similar effect in the Demigorgon's forest where 11 is running into and fighting the Demigorgon.
That's right, we did.
Because that's the kind of weird person I am. I paint those things. A little bit there. And then there we go. Just nicely little painted trees with a little personality. I'm going to grab my darker around here where my burnt sienna went into my orange. Just make sure those little trees over there have some lighting as well, right? Not as intense as those ones that are over on the other side, but they still have some. All right, when you're all if I can pick it up, I can. Sometimes when you have a boo boo, if the paint underneath is still dry and the paint on top isn't cured too much. Remember how I said if you use water, sometimes it'll lift up?
Yeah, you can kind of fix it.
I'm using that right now. So I had a boo boo that I don't want, so I just erased it. Okay, let's dry everything with a hairdryer and come back. I'll show you how we put in our cute critter. So I did do a little thinking to get this next part in for you guys so I can explain to you how to do it. This is the Stabilo Carbothello chalk pencil. You could also use our Dritz chalk tool, just anything that's going to like leave a little mark on there that's removable. So I'm going to come over the top of the head. I'm going to bring in a little triangle here off the far side. Pull the nose. I come over, a little bounce up, curl in, and then down kind of like a cat's front. Half of it goes off this way, and then swoop down and bring the other half over here. Now across this, I place my eye. I'm going to take an upper arc. Now listen, if you have the traceable, you can put the traceable back over and use it to get the features into. But just make a little big eye shape. Pupil inside. Now here where I go over, I'm going to give myself a little chalk line to say, hey, I've got to bring this up. And then I'm going to bring a little bit of that eye that's on the far side. Kind of big, because these have to reflect each other. And that way when the little mustache comes out, and I'm going to bring a little bit of a, maybe I'll come across here and say the nose is a little bit bent there. And I'll make this kind of like the shading above the eyebrow. I'll bring that down there, so I know what I'm kind of painting. All right, kind of know where features are. And that's really what I'm looking for, is just to know where my features are.
Yeah.
And when we come back, I'm going to show you what we do next. So I'm going to take a number 6 sepia and I'm going to get into my dioxazine purple. And I'm going to go ahead and exaggerate the bend of where the head goes up. Have a little glazing liquid so it flows off my brush a little nicer. There we go. And then I'm going to come around here. Kind of putting off the little far brow. We'll pop the eye in that far side there. And while all that's having a dry, I'm going to rinse out. And I'm going to bring, I want kind of this bright eye. So I'm going to take a little bit of white. And I'm going to come right in here. Sort of dry brush. A little bit of white. And that's just so that when I do my eye, I can really brighten it up in there. There we go. I'm also going to take a little bit of my white and my blue. I'm going to come in and just very carefully paint in the nose so I don't lose it. A little white and blue. And then a little bit down the center there. And I'll just edge a little blue along here. My purple just kind of exaggerating that. Okay, now I'm going to dry everything. We're going to come back and do some more details on that eye. So I'm going to want to come in here and I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow, even my yellow white, and I'm going to come underneath and make sure that I have a very bright, glowing yellow right here. Then I'm going to grab a little bit of my cad red and my cad yellow. Nice orange. I'll blend that in. You can see how the white sort of helped keep that bright. It's really hard for yellow to go over a dark color. and rinse out. I'm going to go ahead and grab a little black. Make sure it's not too watery. I come around the eye, come under the eye. I'm actually going to go up and around the eye. Fairly little curved brush strokes out. Grab a little more black. I'm going to come under the eye, brushing down and back. And that's helping inform the shape of the eye over here. And then while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and make sure I've got a little black area over here to be the eye in shadow. So we're starting to see some little eye there, right? That's not bad. Now let's dry everything. We're going to come in and we're going to fluff some critter up. We're not done with the eye, but we're going to fluff some critter up first. So I'm going to take my number 6 sepia round and I'm going to grab a little bit of my quinacridone and my Daox purple and a smidge of my cad red. And I'm going to come back up here, up over the little eyelash. Sort of add this little definition there. And I'm going to come on this outside. Just little brush strokes down. And this is just so that the fur looks a little like it's got some light in it. So we're kind of doing what we did for the trees.
Just some backlighting.
Mm-hmm. And then as I come down, I can darken back up again with Daox purple. Now I'm going to come here again in the little cad red, little quinacridone, little Daox purple mix. And then back into the Daox purple as we come back. Now I want to make painting my fur an easier job, so I'm going to get a brush that will really help me do that. You could use a deer brush if you didn't have this brush. You could use a deerfoot stippler like this one if you didn't have this brush. Doing little flicking motions and still get a pretty good fur effect. But let me show you what I'm going to use. This is a 1/2 inch filbert grainer. A little different than a grass comb, but some grass combs are sometimes cut similarly to this, but the filbert grainer lets you get really great hair effects kind of coming down. So I'm going to go ahead and get it a little bit wet. And I'm going to grab some of my purple and a smidge of white. And I'm going to come under here and begin to brush out a little purple. It's quite dark. This one is definitely going to be one of those ones that we find in layers, right?
I like the colors.
Oh yeah, I like the purple and orange. Those are always some of my very first snow sled when I was a kid. I got to pick it out, and I picked out a purple and orange sled, which just kind of horrified my mother. It was not what she felt was the prettiest one, but man, I loved it. It was like the best one by far. I still remember how I felt about that sled. Well, sometimes I'll grab a little glazing liquid just to improve the flow off my brush. Smidge, smidge. So you can see what I mean. It doesn't look purple until you add a little white to it. But when you add a little white to it, why does it look purple, doesn't it?
Crazy how these colors all mix.
Get a little glazing liquid on there just to improve the flow of the paint so I can paint the area easier. Come up over the head here with some purple. I don't know if this purple people eater flies, but
He may be a chillin' purple people eater.
it'd be a forest dwelling purple people eater. I feel
Or,
like he's
or
got a very forest dwelly feel.
maybe he eats no people. Maybe
Maybe he's friendly.
he's a purple people pleaser.
Purple people pleaser. Purple people pleaser. Now what's that? I'm gonna grab a little bit of my white into the magenta color I had from earlier.
Like
And
meets people
brush a little highlight down here, just in a few places. See how we're doing?
like sneaks up to you and goes, "Would you like a bottle of water? Maybe a cookie?"
See a Burning Man monster? Just slightly like we're just kind of implying the hair.
He would be a ranger.
Oh yeah, he definitely would. He's got that good vibe, you know? I'm gonna rinse that off. I'm gonna go ahead and get my black loaded onto my brush. Get some glazing liquid if I need to improve the flow. I'm gonna come into here and very carefully I'm gonna paint in the eye shape. There we go. Going around that eye a little bit. Oh, that's cute, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to get a bit of my magenta and purple together. I'm going to come up over the front of the head. A slightly lighter aspect. Let's get a little more weight into this. Might have to get my little brush back again. There we go. All right, let's dry everything with a hair dryer, and when we come back, I'll show you what we do next. So I'm going to come in and start working some of the eye. Let's grab a little bit of my blue. I'm going to bring this over here, and black and a little white. Make kind of a blue-gray. A little more more white. And then I'm going to come up over the lid here. Pressing harder, harder, harder as I come back. Flicking out. And then a little bit blowing back. There you go. That's looking very nice. Rinse, rinse, rinse. Rinse, rinse. I'm going to get a little of my Mars Black and Burnt Sienna. And come in on the inside of the eye with this darker color. And a little bit on this outside eye. Let's take a little bit of our red and a little yellow, make a very bright orange. I wipe my brush off with the towel and kind of blend here with the brush. And I'm going to get a little yellow. Get a little black going again. Make sure our pupil is real dark and round. And take a little bit of my yellow and white. Under the eye with that extra little highlight. And while that's having thought, I'm going to get my black on my number 6 sepia, and I'm going to come in and make sure that my little nostrils here are painted a little bit black. And I'm going to come across the front of my nose. A little highlight of yellow. Down on this side. A little white going. Come back with my blue a little bit. I'll kind of blend these together. Wipe my brush off so I can blend them on the canvas. See how we're doing? Kind of giving that nose like a little bright highlight. I like that quite a lot. I'm going to grab a little black I'm going to come on the inside of the nose to the eye. Make sure. I have a nice little black shadow, kind of similar. See how this is like there? So even though we're kind of seeing, I want it to feel like that's there going off. Far eye. And then I'm going to grab a little bit of white. Do one little dot. Second there. Another little far dot. A far eye. Grab a little bit of orange and I might come in a little bit on the outside. Just kiss a little eye on that side. Give it a little kiss.
Nice little kiss.
Grab a little bit of my white and yellow. Want more on the point. A little more control over where it goes. And a little reflection kind of on the nose as well. A little more white and yellow. That last little highlight in the eye. Oh my goodness, did we do a lot here or what?
Really?
I think we are getting so much done. A little more blue and white. Oh, it's the blue and black and white. Mars black. Phthalo blue. Just slightly lighter. Just slightly lighter. Okay, everything needs to be dried before we can do the next step. So we want to add a little personality to him. I'm going to grab a little of my glazing liquid on my brush, some white, and a little phthalo blue. I'm going to come through here and very carefully add a few little blue highlights to the dark fur down here. So we're doing just a few little blue highlights. And always come back with my purple.
That's so cool.
I have to brush back up to improve the look of the hair I do. Whatever I gotta do. Just a little bit of hair here and there. You can always come in and get a little magenta, blue. See how I just mix up the colors? And mixing up his fur this way. And he's looking pretty good.
I really like him.
And grab a little bit of my magenta, Doc's purple. Come through here and kind of a little of that color, and then I'm going to get a little white. Let's come to the front here. A little white and yellow. Just a little highlight. A little bit of my purple and blue together. Grab a little black. Maybe glazing liquid if I need it. Make sure that this looks like little hairs. I'll blend it out. Rinse, 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 rinse. A little white. Some blue. On the outside here. A little brush back. A little more blue. I want it to be light. A little bit light there. Now I'm going to rinse this off.
I like the stash.
You like the stash? Yeah. A little more water. I'm trying to improve the flow. I want the hairs of the brush to really show. It needs to be light enough to really show. The problem with phthalo blue is it's got a very strong tinting strength. So sometimes getting that light blue that's very fluidy can be a really hard go. I'm mixing it up here. It's got a little yellow in it over here, but I don't mind that. And then just on the tips there. A little bit of a stash there. And a fluffy and folding over.
Yeah.
A little bit more blue. A little darker blue right here. So our little guy is like a wonderful combination of purple and blue. Now I'm going to want to come here and get my round brush and get a little bit of my aqua color, my light blue. I'm going to come over my nose a little bit. Blend that in. Just like a little bit across there. Get my blue again on the tip of my brush. And then a little bit of white and blue. On the nostril. And on that far nostril. All right, let's dry everything. When we come back, I'll show you what we do next. So I've got a small detail brush. This is a number 0 Raphael Precision. I'm going to get wet with a little bit of water. Come in here. And add a little reflection to the inner eye. Along the waterline to the outer eye so that the eye is super cute. Right here on the nostril. Right there. I'll just make sure that these are super cute and curled, kind of counterposed to each other, if you see what I'm doing. Just a little bit of extra personality. You want just a little extra when you're doing your fantasy creatures. You want a little extra fun. And then the other extra fun thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get my water. And come here and get just a little bit of my cad red on my brush. Make sure we put a little reflection of red here and there. A few little, just so the environment and him kind of play against each other. What a silly fellow. I mean, I don't know that I want to walk into the woods and run into him.
Well, I think you would want to. He is a
You think he's
purple
friendly?
people pleaser. He's a purple people pleaser.
He's a purple people pleaser. Oh, I love that. Yes, that is what he is. I'm going to get a little water and a little bit of my white. Take it over to my blue and black.
You'd like run into him in a deep dark woods, and he'd be like, "Here's a flashlight."
I think he would. Just a little bit on the eyes coming off there. And when you get it exactly where you love it, where you're excited and you're like, yep, that's it, that's the one. Which I'm not quite at because I just saw something. Well, no, I think I am at. I think I am happy. I think I'm super happy. I'm going to do what I don't normally do and sign in red. Doing it a lot lately for the season of Halloween. Sherpa-ween.
I like this guy.
Man, we've been doing Sherpa-ween a long time.
Oh, we really have been.
I put together a complete playlist of every Halloween lesson, and there's like hundreds of them. So, if that's your favorite season, I've got you hooked up. You'll want to hit that subscribe button and go find that playlist and look at all the Halloween paintings. You will be blown away. And that's not, I mean, that's more than just this year, right? That's
true.
Year after year after
Multi-year.
year. And kind of have a theme or a vibe every year. This year I really wanted to mix up cute Halloween and scary Halloween. So there was something for everybody to enjoy the season. All right. Well, this is quite a little fellow, I think.
Yes, he is.
When we come back, I'm going to tell you what we do next. John's going to make me big.
So now you've painted this strange furry monster, and hopefully you enjoy your little creature as much as I enjoyed mine.
Yeah.
To that end, if you did and you'd like to share it with me, I've got a group, the Art Sherpa Official, on Facebook. You can share artwork that you do in my tutorials in there. You can also just hit the hashtag the Art Sherpa on any of the social media. I'm all the places, and I do try to get in and check everything pretty regularly. And I'm really on all the places. If there's social media, I'm pretty much there. So if you hashtag in, and I try to get out and see what you guys are doing. I'm hoping that you're loving this 13 days of Sherpaween, and that today's installment was a lot of fun for you and gave you a lot of inner joy. I really like to make this holiday event something that's little something for everybody, a
Mhm.
little amuse bouche of fun, spooky art that everybody can enjoy. So I think he was definitely a great little appetizer for the season. Why I've gotten into some food metaphors here. What on earth? I must be hungry. My belly must be empty.
Oh.
I need to go fill it because that's where my brain's at. So that's always a good thing. Remember, when you're painting, it's important to. I sometimes sit through these in a single sitting. I'm going to try to be more aware of telling you guys when I'm taking breaks on the longer paintings. This one I sat through, but I really think like every 40 minutes or hours. So just in your painting practice, you should remember to take care of your health, take care of your tummy, take care of your hydration and your body by standing up every once in a while. That's my little PSA for you guys. Outside of that, be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I will see you at an easel really soon. Bye bye.